lectern and state your name and address. May we have a report from staff? Mr. Fruit, yours.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This evening we've got a zone map amendment request from mixed urban residential UMR zoning district to light industrial LI zoning district. Location and zoning. The 30-acre tract being Lot 1, 6.4 acres, and Lot 2, 23.5 acres of the pending Boyce Simple subdivision located in that portion of the southwest quarter of Section 29, Township 34 North, Range 79 West and 6. Natrona County property address is 2744 Salt Creek Highway, from which it's accessed. Effective parcel is currently zoned UMR, pending the zone change to light industrial. Adjacent zoning to the north is light industrial and UMR. To the south and east is light industrial. To the west is urban ag. This is along the Salt Creek Highway. If you're heading from the port of entry northward, after you go through the curves down there at the bottom of the hill, it's in the approximate location of the old energy laboratories, testing facilities on the opposite side of Salt Creek, or the west side of Salt Creek. This is from the subject property looking north, subject property looking south. A little more background. The subject property is presently under contract to purchase Lot 2 of the pending Boyce Simple subdivision. Applicants propose a rezone of both lots in the proposed simple subdivision to light industrial zoning. Key issues: will approving this zone change violate the 2000 Natrona County zoning resolution? An applicant must demonstrate that at least one of the following criteria is met for the approval to be consistent with the zoning resolution. Criteria: is it necessary to become compliant with the Natrona County Development Plan? Number 2, existing zoning of the land was a result of a clerical error. 3, existing zoning of the land was based upon a mistake of fact. 4, existing zoning of the land failed to take into account the constraints on development created by the natural characteristics of the land, including but not limited to steep slopes, floodplain, unstable soils, and inadequate drainage. Number 5, the land or its surrounding environments has changed or is changing to such a degree that it is of public interest to encourage a redevelopment of the area or to recognize the change in character of the area. 6 and final one, proposed zoning is necessary in order to provide a land for a community need that was not anticipated at the time of the adoption of the land development plan.
Doesn't meet that one.
Issue 1, does the zone change meet the first criterion? Is it necessary to become compliant with the Natrona County Development Plan? The proposed finding of fact. The Natrona County Development Plan addresses this affected area. It's referred to as Neighborhood 13 Wardwell. The development plan recommends some commercial, limited residential infill, industrial parks to the south, roadway upgrades, separation of residential and commercial traffic. The effect of the recent planned commercial and industrial development complies with the development plan. Therefore, it is the position of the planning department that criteria number 1 is met. As we're all aware, that Salt Creek area is increasingly developing as industrial. It's consistent with the land plan to support the industrial growth. This is a logical step for that. The applicant owns some property to the south and plans on incorporating this property with the property they own to the south for industrial development. Issue 2, does the zone change meet the 5th criteria? The land or the surrounding environments has changed or is changing to such a degree that is in the public's interest to encourage a redevelopment of the area or to recognize the changed character of this area. Proposed finding of fact, prior to 2000, much of the zoning in the Wardwell area was mixed residential, which corresponds closely with UMR. Early residential zoning has given way to the creation of larger light industrial zoning districts, substantially replacing UMR. The evolution of an increased industrial presence in the Wardwell area clearly shows the changed characteristics of this area. It's the position of the planning department that criteria number 5 is also met. Public comment. To date, Natrona County Development Department has received 1 public comment opposing the regarded zone change proposed hereunder. The comment is included in the staff report, and they were opposed to the changing to light industrial, but also recognized the property owner's rights to develop their own property. Proposed motion at their May 13th, 2014 The Planning and Zoning Commission acted by a vote of 4 in favor and no votes in opposition to recommend approval of this zone change request by the BOCC because the first and fifth criteria have been satisfied. Staff recommends that the motion incorporate by reference the findings of fact set forth herein and make them a part thereof. With that, I entertain your questions.
Thank you. Questions for Jason?
One, Mr. Chairman. When you notified that this zone change was coming up, you notified all the neighbors to that property?
It was published in the newspaper, plus we notify within a radius of the property that is contained. I need to look in my notes to tell you exactly, but I would guess we want at least a quarter-mile radius of that property.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jason, you mentioned that to keep the residential and industrial traffic separate. Is there any kind of a plan for in that area to do such a thing?
The roadway, we have not seen any of the roadway plans yet. Mr. Keith Tyler is present. He has made indications that they plan on developing a roadway from Salt Creek headed west to connect to the future Polaris Drive, and we would see more details of that when we see the subdivision application come forward.
So this proposed roadway will basically be down the middle of these properties? Is that?
That would be my understanding.
Ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to zone change 14-2 to please vote selected. You said your name and address, please.
My name's Dave Phillips. I am property owner on 2661 Forbes Road.
Thank you. Come on, you have some stuff to share with us? Thank you. What am I am seeing a petition.
Okay, you got the petition of the folks on Blair and Forbes Road that request no more zone changes in our area. We've went through 5 zone changes in the past 10 years, or 4 at least, to make up for profit for everybody. Well, in our present economy, the way it's going, everybody's out for the dollar and they ain't out for the people. And that's why we gathered this petition. Nobody's standing for the people. The only one that's standing are the ones that's got money, and that's the people that are out there trying to develop the property that was originally intended to be for residential. Yep. When Mrs. Scogan got the water and sewer in out there, my dad told me, he says, Dave, you watch them. They start bringing the industrial in there, they're going to push you out. And that's what I'm seeing. I've lived out there for near 35 years. And this, with these folks here and my being here tonight, I'm in opposition of not doing it.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the time on the petition.
Well, I'm
Pass that on. There were the questions of Mr. Phillips.
Mr. Phillips?
yes, sir.
I'm wrestling with it. I keep thinking to myself, well, you know, I drive out there quite a bit, and there's so much light industrial across the street from you, up and down that road now.
I'm sorry.
Oh. Well, there's so much light industrial and activity across
That
the
is
street from you, and
because
up and down that road now.
the commissioners have allowed the rezoning of the properties that were intended for public homes, not industrial.
That's right.
The commissioners have allowed this. The people didn't allow it. It's been pushed on us. That's why I'm standing here before you tonight, sir.
And I understand that, but don't forget, you elected the commissioners.
That's exactly right.
We have to make a decision, one way or the other.
But you're always siding with industrial when it's already been residential?
I understand. It's a tough decision, it really is.
Well, I'm standing here before you tonight because I care about the people, not the commercial use of the property. That's not fair.
Nope.
We put our sweat and tears into the places that most of us have got out there. Yes, some of them aren't real beautiful like they are in town. But if you had a commercial site put right behind your house and you had no control over it, how would you feel about it? It'd put you in a position of wanting to get the machine guns out and go take some people out, wouldn't it? Think about it. As an individual, put it right behind, for instance, Berg's place. Not 100 feet from Berg's place. How would that make Berg feel? And it was a residential place to start with. Any one of you can identify with where I'm coming from. I'm up to here. The sheriff has been nominated, you fellas been nominated to serve the people, not individual planners of your own.
Nope.
The sheriff's supposed to have people out there when he's called, right? I've asked the commissioners, I went to the road bridge to try to help them and the people on Forks Road to bring gravel in there, just to bring it in. All scattered. I can't get any help there. But they're taking our money. They're taking our money, and where's our tax dollars going? It ain't not our, it ain't in our neighborhood. Gentlemen, I've been living out there for 30 years plus. When are people going to start standing up right here in this room that are behind the desk and working with the people, not the people that's got the big money?
Amen.
Amen.
Okay? I appreciate you.
Any further questions for Mr. Phillips? For the purposes of the audience, let me read this text of the petition that has been signed. The residents below are not satisfied with the unrestricted nature of the light industrial designation, which could include chemical processing, salvage operations, and businesses of such nature as to create a hazard for those residents domiciled nearby within the 300-foot perimeter of the rezoned area. Without some assurance of the safety of adults, children, pets, and livestock from hazards and noise of potential industrial operations, we do not feel the rezoning serves our interest nor preserves the value of our homes and property and could affect valuations in a harmful and material manner.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, and we'll enter this into the record.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Edwards?
Thank you, gentlemen.
I had one question for you.
Yes.
I see a lot of Fords Road addresses on there, and a lot of Blair Lane.
Yeah.
There's about, it would be 30, 40, almost 50 some signatures on that.
I was unable to reach all of them. Most of those signatures were taken on Sunday. That's when I could reach the people that were gone.
So that's just about all the residences north of there, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Lacking about 20 homes.
Okay. Okay. That was what I was wondering, how many you didn't get signed?
Yeah, there's real close to 20 that didn't get signatures.
Yeah.
I didn't get a signature.
14 on the page.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yes, sir, I was wondering, did you go to the planning commission that evening and
I did.
voice your concern to the planning commission?
I didn't at that time. Terry, if I may use your first name. I didn't at that time because I didn't have enough information, and I still didn't when we had this drawn up. Because I couldn't get a hold of the minutes from that meeting.
You know, when I said I was definitely going to vote on it, now you got me wondering a little bit with these signatures, but I still can't help but think all the other light industrial that's gone up and down
Shut
that
them
road
out.
and across the street from you, and it's a perfect fit, light industrial in that area. I mean, right across the way from you and down the street, you have the, you know, trucks pulling in all night long, you know, and the revenue department, you know.
Okay, Terry, what I'm going to share with you,
Sure.
turn on your fine tuner, please. That was all residential when my folks bought out there 60-some years ago. And when Mrs. Scogan decided to try to get water and sewer out there, that was all residential planning. That wasn't light industrial, that wasn't commercial use property. The planners or the developers think that they can come in there and start putting industry in a public area. That's not right. If they were to come and do it behind your house, would you accept it? Think of it like that, because I'm a homeowner out there. Would you accept it? Putting it behind your house now.
You talking to me?
Yes.
I know, I
Well,
don't.
each of the-
I understand,
Each of the commissioners that's up
It's
front.
gonna be a tough decision. It really is. I'd like to ask, when you get done, I'd like to ask our planner something.
Have a chance here.
Any further questions for Mr. Phillips?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Terry, you had a question for Mr. Gutierrez? Go ahead.
My name is George Pridham. I live at 3074 Home Hills Road. That is in Natrona County. I'm a voter, homeowner, quote unquote, that pay taxes. I think if we were talking about putting this over on 15th and Outer Drive, Terry would be really upset about it.
Yep.
But my question is a little bit different, and I want you to think about this. The way a person gets to be an alcoholic is to have a drink. Well, one more won't hurt. And then, one more wouldn't hurt. And the next thing you know, you got a problem. So one more does hurt these people that live in that area. So please pay attention to what they're asking. My question is this, because I'm not saying I'm opposed or for, I don't live there. But as a resident of Natrona County, and somebody who's been here a lot of years, my question is this, who's going to pay the maintenance on the road they're talking about building?
On the road,
Yeah, they're gonna build a road going on Salt Creek Highway and going west.
presumptive is that road is going to be a road to county road standards, which has to be for any subdivision. It will provide public access. And
Okay, I understand.
Who's paying for it?
So that way it comes into my pocketbook to pay for it.
And we have taken the tax.
It's my pocketbook and all of your pocketbook to pay for this road, to keep the maintenance on it afterwards.
No,
Ormsby Road out here, sir,
Let me answer, please.
you can demand anything, it's your court.
With new subdivisions, we required a local improvement taxing district to take care of the public roads. Okay, so the people that access that road and have ownership on the road will be assessed in order to maintain that public road.
Roads and Bridges has been requesting for 5 years to have Ormsby Road chipped and repaved. But the county doesn't have the money. But we're going to accept new things in and raise taxes. Isn't that quite like Washington? Thank you.
Maybe it's on here, maybe you can put it on the screen. Do you have an overlay of all of Salt Creek? I mean, from maybe the interstate up, and I want to know how much of it is industrial and how much of it is.
I do have that on machines. Go ahead and continue.
I would, at this time, I would ask, well, we'll get that taken care of. The other, anybody for the second time who wishes to speak in opposition, to please approach the lectern.
My name is George Stillman. I live at 9075 Mohican Road. As you gentlemen are well aware, I'm on the Planning and Zoning Committee. I need to make an apology to Dave Phillips for voting to approve this at our last meeting. And it came to me sitting just now, trying to reconcile why would I allow this to continue when I had forgotten the fact that, and I believe it was Larry Forsberg's property, which is to the south of this property, that I think FT Investments purchased. And we had a zoning change to make that property light industrial. If my memory serves me, at that time, Mr. Scogan came and said that essentially he would never sell this particular piece of property in order to keep the light industrial separate from the residential. Obviously, something has changed. They sold to FT Investments, and now Mr. Phillips is looking at light industrial next to him. Assurances that light industrial will not affect residential properties I know to be untrue. I was a former employee at Inflex Energy Systems up on Renana, and that was zoned light industrial, and they had 24-hour operations, lights, trucks coming in and going, and the neighbors across the way, even those folks know that it impacted their way of life. So it looks to me like this piece of property was to be a buffer between the light industrial and the residential. If you change that zoning on this piece of property now, those two are adjacent, side by side. One of the justifications for that, the previous zone change, was that light industrial allowed a residential property to exist, which Mr. Forsberg lived in at that time. And so they changed that property then he lived there. He sold that property, and it's obviously going to be developed as a light industrial complex. And there is no buffer zone when this goes through between that property and the residences on this road. And so I think maybe I made a mistake, and I'd like to speak for, again, a public apology to Mr. Dave Phillips. And I think hindsight being 20/20, I think I would have voted differently. Don't know that the outcome would have been any different, but I owe him that at least. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, so it was brought up on the quality of the roads and who's paying for the roads.
Mm-hmm.
And you live in that, you don't live in that area, you live in Home Hills. But you work,
you
work for Energy Flex?
I work for Energy
So
Flex, yes.
can you tell me, are you familiar with the quality of road difference between Renana, Forbes, and Blair?
You bet. There's a major difference. Interflex took it upon themselves, funny story, took it upon themselves to maintain that road at least up to the far western border of their properties. Primarily Renana, because that was our main access. Gas Drive was another entity, and the other businesses didn't do so well on Melody Lane, which is to the south of that. The residents, one in particular, and I don't even know what his name was, but the gentleman got a DUI on a John Deere lawnmower because he didn't like the way we were crowning the road. He wanted the water to run a different direction, and came out and cut through the road that they were maintaining. I've driven Forbes Road. There are potholes as big as this area in front of you here, there. I also live in Home Hills, up on Mohican, and that was a subdivision.
No, my question was just the difference in the quality of roads between Renana and then Forbes Road and Blair, right?
There is a major difference.
There's a major difference.
Yes.
Renana is blacktopped and
up to halfway through that.
No, I understand, and I actually understand why, right? Who paid for it?
I don't know the answer to that
It was
question.
the businesses, right? It was the
Pretty
homeowners.
sure, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. The issue, but to point out here though, Forbes Road is residences and won't be affected by this subdivision and the maintenance of whatever road they decide to go through the middle of it. Won't affect these folks over here. So you'll have a nice road that the businesses are paying for, and a nice road that Interflex pay for, and Mogadishu through the middle of Forbes Road there. And I guess, as a taxpayer, they're wondering what's going on. I don't have an answer, I don't know.
Thank you. Any further questions for Mr. Tillman? Mr. Gutierrez, would you explain and Jason?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, what we have here is a zoomed out version. We can zoom in if we need to on various areas. This highlighted area up here is the town of Bar None. Yellow down here would be city of Casper. Our subject property that we're discussing currently is this strip right there of the green. The gray shaded areas here are all light industrial. This is the section that we're contemplating. This is all light industrial. Out here is urban ag. So
what is the red?
The dark red in there is urban residential. This is UMR.
And the gray, all the gray?
All the gray is light industrial.
Terry, does that resolve your question?
Yeah, I was pretty, like I said, I was pretty well, I had it in my mind how to vote, but now seeing all these signatures and all that,
I have a question.
Just a minute here, please, Matt. While we've got Jason and this up, any questions for the rest of the commissioners on this projection?
Will it pertain
Hold on
to
a
the
minute,
projection?
Please, Mr. Chadwick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Jason, the southern border of the proposed light industrial borders on light industrial.
That's correct.
And immediately across the highway is light industrial.
That's correct.
And the eastern end is light industrial.
That's correct.
Thank you. Any further questions for Jason?
how many of you all live out there?
We're still in opposition so that they can additionally come to speak with questions and identify themselves, okay? At this stage, I would ask those of you that are up front to move back into the audience, please. Now, there was, I'm going to ask again if somebody had a question. Speaking in opposition, if you would like to.
I'm not speaking in opposition, but I just want to ask a question of all of you guys. If you look at this map, when was this created? 2014, 2013? Show me a map of what it looked like 10 years ago. Show me a map of what it looked like 20 years ago. And show me a map of what it looked like 50 years ago. And then let's see what.
Madam, we can't do that, but could we have your name and address?
Yes, my name is Deb Rogers, and I live at 10075 North Osage Road. But I'm just concerned about these citizens here. We're talking about a broad spectrum here, so if it used to be residential, why is it now light industrial? That's just my question.
Thank you. For the second time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to zone change 14-2.
Judy Jones, 335 North 8 Mile. I don't have a dog in the fight in this, but to answer Mr. Chadwick's question, the property to the south belonged to Forestburg. Okay, and I was in that meeting that day when they changed the zone on it. Forestburg did say that he wasn't going to sell that land, and that he was going to live on it and build a barn for himself. Well, when Keith or Mr. Tyler went to him and decided they want the other half of that section, that's what's happening. Okay, they're inching in with their light industrial and they're squeezing these people out. And evidently people are getting really tired of it. With this being an election year, I would suggest you guys quit getting in bed with these developers a little bit and start getting on board with your voters. Thank you.
Whatever road they decide to go through the middle of it won't affect these folks over here. So you'll have a nice road that the businesses are paying for, and a nice road that Interflex paid for, and Mogadishu through the middle of Forbes Road there. And I guess, you know, as a taxpayer, they're wondering what's going on. I don't have an answer. I don't know.
Thank you. Any further questions for Mr. Tillman? Mr. Gutierrez, would you explain and don't know how to do this, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Anybody that can't see this, is
Which is all
welcome
of
to
them.
stand up and come around and look at this projection, because this is, well.
I've always
look
thought
out
you
there.
guys should have it back there behind you because it's easier for you to pivot around than it is for the audience.
Well, the problem is what
Table
I'm
moves.
inviting is the audience to come up and stand here and look at it, because it's a lot easier to
I'm not.
change a computer system and skin projector in the screen. Anybody that wants to is welcome to come up. So that we all understand, this is off of our GIS system. This is Bergeron. This is the type of information that you can get to respond to questions about what is the zoning, how it's all.
There's lots of room back here, guys.
And there's go back here,
Don't be shy.
Okay, Jason?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, what we have here is a zoomed out version. We can zoom in if we need to on various areas. This highlighted area up here is the town of Bar None. Yellow down here would be city of Casper. Our subject property that we're discussing currently is this strip right there of the green. The gray shaded areas here are all light industrial. This is the section that we're contemplating. This is all light industrial. Out here is urban ag. So
What is the red?
the dark red in there is urban residential. This is UMR.
And the gray, all the gray?
All the gray is light industrial.
Terry, does that resolve your question?
Yeah, I was pretty, like I said, I was pretty well, I had it in my mind how to vote, but now seeing all these signatures and all that,
I have a question.
Just a minute here, please, Matt. While we've got Jason and this up, any questions for the rest of the commissioners on this projection?
Will it pertain
Hold on
to
a
the
minute,
projection?
Please, Mr. Chadwick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Jason, the southern border of the proposed light industrial borders on light industrial.
That's correct.
And immediately across the highway is light industrial.
That's correct.
And the eastern end is light industrial.
That's correct.
Thank you. Any further questions for Jason?
how many of you all live out there?
We're still in opposition so that they can additionally come to speak with questions and identify themselves, okay? At this stage, I would ask those of you that are up front to move back into the audience, please. Now, I'm going to ask again, if somebody had a question, speaking in opposition, if you would like to.
I'm not speaking in opposition, but I just want to ask a question of all of you guys. If you look at this map, when was this created? 2014, 2013? Show me a map of what it looked like 10 years ago. Show me a map of what it looked like 20 years ago. And show me a map of what it looked like 50 years ago. And then let's see what...
Madam, we can't do that, but could we have your name and address?
Yes, my name is Deb Rogers, and I live at 10075 North Osage Road. I'm just concerned.
Those who wish to speak in opposition to the zone change, so please approach the record, state your name and address.
Name's Paul Pat, my 781 Cherokee Lane. I don't have any property out there, but I was out there and looked at this property today. Tried to compare it to some pictures that I pulled off the web. And the picture they showed showing east, I can't even figure out where it's at. On this piece of property, which is actually two pieces of property the way I'm understanding it, you have residential adjacent to the north, adjacent to the south, and directly across the road. There are two houses right across the road, and just south of there, Anderson Pit, I believe it is. It's right in there. I guess what I would say on this, the way I'm looking at the map, the larger piece of property that's in the back towards the west, I call the back further off of Salt Creek, it's actually kind of an L shape the way it's showing on the map that actually comes up and meets Salt Creek as well, if I'm understanding this right. So I guess what I'm saying is that it would make more sense to me that if you decide to go through with doing a zoning change here, to see it, I mean, is it possible that you could just change the zoning on that rear piece there that's not right next to the houses up by the road, and allow them to develop that portion? And perhaps they can either bring their roadway in during that lake, that little dog lake that comes out to Salt Creek, or they're not that far from Kersal Lake, which already has plenty of truck traffic, there's North Park Transport back in there. Maybe they could come in from the south off of Kersal into that property, something like that. I guess I'm saying I'm speaking in opposition to doing the entire thing, but as a compromise, possibly doing the back section and not doing the 6 acres out there right by the road. That would be close to the houses.
Questions? Thank you very much. For the second time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to please approach the lectern.
Hi, I'm Grace Colpitz, and I don't live real
Your address?
Oh, 2737 Andrea.
Thank you.
And could you speak in the mic?
Okay. Grace Colpitz. And when you had the map up there that had the little bit of red along the edge, and then the other two, you have a big hunk of gray, and I don't know what those properties are zoned, that houses exist all the way along there.
Yep.
I mean, that's all people's houses.
I understand that.
Okay.
Jason, I think you indicated that was urban mixed residential.
That's correct.
But there's along that back side, away from Salt Creek,
Right.
that long straight line, that's all houses.
Right, and that is what the nature of the zoning is. Urban mixed residential is mixed
Yeah, but for how long?
residential and commercial houses, and
But along that whole line, there's no industrial there. That's all houses,
the
from
question
one
is
end to the other.
relative to, I understand.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, ask Jason a question.
Certainly.
While you standing. Jason, can we, I guess we can about do anything we want, but how would you restrict certain businesses from going in there? Would that come under this, just a site plan or what? I mean, like
I
a
don't think you
24-hour
can.
business, like a lot of truck traffic or whatever, it could be done that we could restrict what kind of businesses we go in there, or?
Yeah, please do.
I guess that's an attorney question.
Well, I think as Mr. Tyler mentioned, if you change the zoning light industrial, there's certain uses that will be permitted and certain that will be conditional. If you have an applicant that comes in with a use that's one of our conditional uses, they'll have to go through this process. They'll have to go through a planning and zoning hearing and then through a hearing before you, and then you can decide then whether or not that type of business that's being applied for is appropriate for the property.
Madam Attorney, relative to the fact that we're going to see a subdivision plan on this at some time in the next 3, is that subdivision plan also not have to be approved by you?
I would have to defer to Jason, I'm not sure about that.
You're correct, Mr. Chairman. This subdivision plan would go before planning and zoning and ultimately before the Board of County Commissioners. And Chairman, that would be a time that you could, I believe, make conditions on approval of the subdivision on what types of businesses would be allowed or not allowed in that particular subdivision.
Okay. Thank you. Any further questions for Jason?
Yeah. So Jason, from that green up there, that's the subject property.
Right here in front
From
of
there south is all light industrial.
That's correct.
And from there on the east side is all light industrial. All of the gray on this map. So it's just about surrounded.
Except for that man's
Except
house.
to the north on Forbes Road, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 properties to the north on Forbes Road.
And kitty corner, you do have some urban ag, I believe that is, or your UA catty corner.
Okay,
Just on the stripe, just on the across the corner.
Okay, so down on, what are those road names to the south? There's some houses in that, and it's light industrial, right?
That's correct. A residence is allowed in light industrial.
So there are residents in light industrial right now.
That's correct.
So if the developer comes up with a plan, I mean, he could go either to a trucking company or sell it to housing, either way.
Single residence is allowed in light industrial.
Mr. Chadwick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And we may need Keith to answer a couple of these questions that I have. Do you know where exactly on that property the road would be that he's intending?
I'm going to zoom in a little closer.
Okay.
Okay, they can put in Forbes Road there, that back bottom corner there. Everybody on that side of the road said they wished it would been left alone residential. Because the fact that when you get commercial and light industrial in there, the bigger places like you see down on the Nona down there, then you start having that fellas just in and try to make their living. And the guys working for them, it ain't their fault. So they work 24 hours a day, it gets noisy around. We can hear them, they're over on the and that's why I got issues together. We don't want anything like that at all in this segment. In this plan, we don't want that.
Great. I appreciate it. For the second time, I will ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to the zone change. Please approach the lectern with your name and address.
Frank Latimer, item 2613 Forbes. This property is right on my back fence, and across that lot is North Park, which is probably a quarter mile away. And I don't have a problem with that. But if North Park was up against my fence, I'd have a problem with that, because they go all night. And I don't particularly would like to have trucks running in my backyard all night. I can still hear them at night from my house. And it would be a lot worse if that was changed. And Lord knows what is going to come in there. Now the land developer, for as much as he knows, he doesn't even really know where the road's going to be. I think that they know a little more, and you guys know a little more about what's going in there, and you're not going to say nothing, because it's not your backyard.
That's not right.
If it was in your backyard, you'd want to know, regardless. If it was a cemetery, I would want to know. The developer lives on Center Street. What is he? He doesn't care what goes on out there. He lives on Center Street. And I'll guarantee you, if you lived on Forbes, you would not want this change. Lord knows what you... If they want to put a cemetery in there, that's fine. They're not going to make much noise. But if you get a trucking company in there, some sort of crusher, and all the rest of that, those big businesses, they're half a mile down the road, north. I don't care. But let's leave these 3 roads here. They're full of residents. Leave them alone. We don't want your stuff in there. And like this gal here said, why don't you start paying attention to what the people want and not what you want. And not what the people with big money want. Listen to the people. This is a democracy until Obama changes it. But until then, you got to listen to what the people say. And I don't want it. And I think most people in here don't.
Kurt Simpson, 9695 Osage. I'm not necessarily directly involved with this property. I understand what the residents are talking about. I'm a good mile and a half from the interstate. And on most nights, you can hear them just as clear as day. Just better than you can hear me without this microphone. You're talking right in your backyard. There ain't no way you want that anywhere near your house. He's a quarter of a mile from North Park and says it doesn't bother him. And their hearing's not very good or they're not very loud. Quarter of a mile and hear a dog bark further than that. You really need to think about where you're putting businesses in people's yard, residences. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nope.
For the second time, I will ask those individuals.
My name is George Pridham. I live at 3074 Home Hills Road. I believe that all 5 of you gentlemen took an oath of office when you weren't you sworn in as county commissioners? You don't have to answer me, just I want you to think about this. And in most things that I've ever heard done, when we're sworn in to do public service, we're to serve and protect. Is that not so? And what I tried to ask you before, and I said it very harshly, and I was wrong in the way I said it. But we need you to be thinking of all the big things about tax dollars, about people's lives, about jobs that might be provided. I've talked both sides of the fence already on this one little simple thing. But for God's sakes, please think about what you swore to when you took an oath of office to be county commissioners. Please. And remember, you're supposed to serve and protect all these people in this room. These 3 ladies right here that work for you. The 2 gentlemen with the sheriff's department behind them. You're here to serve and protect. You're the highest entity of our county, Natrona County. It's up to you guys to be so smart that you don't screw up. And we all know that you're human. And there's going to be things happen at times. But on something like this, where people have lived places for 20 and 30 and 40 years, for God's sakes, think about your oath as your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. For the second time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to please approach the lectern.
Do you want me to sign in?
Train them. There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Wingeter. Janelle Moore, 161 Indian Paintbrush. In respects to you, Mr. Kane, really respect you, but you were asking the question, what would Casper look like? The fact is that people that live in rural communities do so because they don't want the noise. They don't want the businesses. They want it quiet. So please remember that when you're here tonight making your changes. And that's it.
Thank you. For the second time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition. I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to please approach the lectern, give your name and address.
Good evening, Jackie Anderson, 116.5 East 2nd Street, Casper, Wyoming. I guess from what I've understood and have heard this evening is the will of the constituency to listen. I grew up in North Casper on the wrong side of the tracks. We lived right next to a fire department and not very far from the railroad. And I can tell you, growing up, we had to deal with the noise. My parents moved out to the Vista West 4 district, where, by the way, that is surrounded by industrial or light industrial. So I'm very familiar with the concerns with these individuals about what is being planned here. I don't know if anybody recalls back then, but they allowed a lot of housing construction to happen out in our district, and we have water issues.
I will tell you that development is coming, and it's coming that way. There's a road proposed right on the other side of Andy Lane to go all the way out there. I mean, it's coming. And maybe this one piece can be a buffer zone for a while, and I'll vote to not change it now, but I will tell you, things are changing out there. It may not be tonight, but eventually it will.
Further discussion, Mr. Chairman?
And I guess I have a question for Mr. Gutierrez. What would a buffer zone look like? How would that be defined? What could you do there? What couldn't you do there? Do you have a definition for that?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, no, I don't have a direct answer to that, other than when the subdivision, if and when it came forward, I believe through the subdivision agreement, we would have full authority to impose whatever buffer onto that subdivision as we saw fit. So I guess what I would respond to that is the slate is clean for us to be able to establish a buffer that is amenable to the group.
Thank you.
Further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I would just try and point out a couple of things. I should have taken notes, maybe I could have made an eloquent statement, but Judy made the comment that we need to think about the election, and I was surprised by that, because honestly, when we think about doing what's right and what's...
Excuse me?
We should think about doing the right thing, not worry about an election. Agreed?
That's not what I was making an innuendo about.
Well, I'm sorry, I guess
No, what I'm saying is, I've been to your meetings long enough, almost 5 years now, and I've watched you guys a lot, and I pay close attention to details. And in the last 5 years, I watch how you guys really, really favor your developers. Okay, they're almost kid gloves. And then when you got folks in here saying they don't want something, you say, yeah, 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 and then you blow them off. And you vote for the developer every single time. Every single time. That's what I'm saying. And with this being an election year, you better think about it. There's 3 seats open up there, and you just saw 4 of your guys come up tonight that are running for county commissioner. So be careful how you're voting on things right now. And be careful about how you're favoring one set of people over another set of people. That's the point I'm getting. You work for us. We don't work for you.
Judy, I've never forgotten that.
Okay, well, I just wanted to clarify that.
Never.
I won't let you either.
All right? Yeah.
Mr. If we could...
Yes, sir. Yeah, well, I was trying to make a statement. Yeah.
Further discussion on the motion?
I just have one other comment. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Tom Reeder, and bringing him out tonight wasn't fair. Same.
My name is Bergeron, 2352 South Coughlin Avenue. David and Kathy Phillips are very, very good friends of ours. And Dave's heart and soul is in this property. He loves it dearly, as evidenced by that petition. And I want you to realize how important this is to him. And those property owners, please consider that. Weigh it. Balance injustice here. Weigh it properly. And again, do remember your oath of office. Your oath is to follow the Constitution of Wyoming. I hope you look at it often. My concern is a promise has been made and not kept. Your planning and zoning, I know your name well, but I can't think of it at the moment.
Tillman?
Yes, George Tillman. He has attested that, so is Judy Jones. It did happen. A promise has been made and not kept. Okay, and then Forrest, I have heard you in the county commission speak about the heavy truck traffic out there, and it has been a note of grave concern. And you have said something must be done. And you have talked about rerouting the traffic and how that needs to be done. So what we have is a specific amount currently. You need to look at the future, adding more light industrial. Issues need to be addressed, not in hindsight, but looking forward. I just hear your voice in my mind addressing the issue. And so I would ask you to remember that. The traffic and the toll it takes on the roads. We have a country road. I know that the toll that occurs from heavy truck traffic. So I ask you all to consider that. But mostly, I would ask you to weigh heavily that petition because you do serve the people. Government is put in place to protect private property rights. Otherwise, we have no need for government. Government is put in place to protect private property rights. So please weigh your decision very heavily, and please don't just snap to a yes or no. Please use your heart and soul in this one, please.
About a buffer zone, a 50 or 100-foot buffer.
Okay, let's move that picture down a little bit more where you got a subdivision, the form subdivision over on top of it.
That'd be the other way.
Yeah.
You want me to go the other way, north?
Yeah, right. Okay, right there, and you're looking at that. There you go. All right, my property is right back. Right back in there.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Latimer's place is right back next to me. Your street high, that's Blair. On the street high? Yeah.
Good teamwork, guys.
That's right. Yeah, down there.
Yeah.
That's where you are.
Okay, that's right.
Those houses are down there before the road comes up. So that's the Forsberg place.
Okay, and just a question, what you got there?
No, it's down. Forsberg place was right down there.
There it is.
Scoggin.
Okay. That was all light agriculture and residential when my folks and I were moved out there. Okay, I realize you've got to understand that. But when they started mentioning light agriculture, then it changed again from light agriculture to light industrial. And then they had 3 divisions. During the time I living out there. Okay, they could put in Forbes Road there, that back bottom corner there. Everybody on that side of the road said they wished it had been left alone residential. Because of the fact that when you get commercial and light industrial in there, and the bigger places like you see down on the Nona down there, then you start having the fellas in try to make their living. And the guys working for them, it ain't their fault. So they work 24 hours a day, it gets noisy around. When you hear them, they're over on the And that's why I got issues together. We don't want anything like that at all in this segment. In this plan, we don't want that anywhere else.
Right. I appreciate it. For the second time, I will ask those individuals who wish to speak.
Right out there close, but I will tell you that development is coming, and it's coming that way. There's a road proposed right on the other side of Andy Lane to go all the way out there. I mean, it's coming, and maybe this one piece can be a buffer zone for a while, and I'll vote to not change it now, but I will tell you, things are changing out there. And may not be tonight, that they're right out there close, but I will tell you that development is coming, and it's coming that way. There's a road proposed right on the other side of Andy Lane to go all the way out there. I mean, it's coming. And maybe this one piece can be a buffer zone for a while, and I'll vote to not change it now, but I will tell you, things are changing out there. And may not be tonight, but eventually it will.
Further discussion, Mr. Chairman?
And I guess I have a question for Mr. Gutierrez. What would a buffer zone look like? How would that be defined? What could you do there? What couldn't you do there? Do you have a definition for that?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, no, I don't have a direct answer to that, other than when the subdivision, if and when it came forward, I believe through the subdivision agreement, we would have full authority to impose whatever buffer onto that subdivision as we saw fit. So I guess what I would respond to that is the slate is clean for us to be able to establish a buffer that is amenable to the group.
Thank you.
Further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I would just try and point out a couple of things. I should have taken notes, maybe I could have made an eloquent statement, but Judy made the comment that we need to think about the election, and I was surprised by that, because honestly, when you think about doing what's right and what's...
Excuse me?
We should think about doing the right thing, not worry about an election. Agreed?
That's not what I was making an innuendo about.
Well, I'm sorry, I guess
No, what I'm saying is, I've been to your meetings long enough, almost 5 years now, and I've watched you guys a lot, and I pay close attention to details. And in the last 5 years, I watch how you guys really, really favor your developers. Okay, they're almost kid gloves. And then when you got folks in here saying they don't want something, you say, yeah, 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 and then you blow them off. And you vote for the developer every single time. Every single time. That's what I'm saying. And with this being an election year, you better think about it. There's 3 seats open up there, and you just saw 4 of your guys come up tonight that are running for county commissioner. So be careful how you're voting on things right now. And be careful about how you're favoring one set of people over another set of people. That's the point I'm getting. You work for us. We don't work for you.
Judy, I've never forgotten that.
Okay, well, I just wanted to clarify that.
Never.
I won't let you either.
All right? Yeah.
Mr.
Yes, sir. Yeah, well, I was trying to make a statement. Yeah.
Further discussion on the motion?
I just have one other comment. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Tom Reeder, and bringing him out tonight wasn't fair, saying.
Was it? We didn't hear you.
Further discussion?
Wasn't fair? Is that what you said?
Excuse me, this is now
I didn't start
our
it.
time. Thank you. Further discussion? We have a motion on the floor to deny the zone change. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Motion carries. The zone change is denied.
I didn't start it.
Thank you. Further discussion. We have a motion on the floor to deny the zone change. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Motion carries. The zone change is denied.